Trump explains why tariffs to not make Putin end war, makes new statement on Tomahawk missiles for Ukraine, and why US doesn't want to be only country not conducting nuclear tests. The latest news next. The summit between Chinese leader Xi Jinping and US President Donald Trump was one of the most high-profile in recent years. It opened up the possibility for the first time of Beijing's real involvement in resolving the war in Ukraine. Chinese government advisor David Daokui Lee says in a comment to Bloomberg. According to Lee, this meeting was historic because the United States effectively recognized China as an equal partner in the negotiations. He noted that one of the key topics of future serious negotiations will be the situation in Ukraine.
Among all the meetings between the two leaders, this one is perhaps the most important, really historical. Fundamentally, the most important progress for both sides is for the US to recognize China as equal partner to talk about things.
After the summit, Trump said that Washington and Beijing had agreed to work together to get the war with Russia and Ukraine solved. Although the details of the agreements are not yet known, experts believe that China's participation could significantly influence the diplomatic context surrounding the war. The meeting also ended with the announcement of a one-year trade truce and agreements on tariffs and export controls for critical minerals. However, according to analysts, the main intrigue is China's possible involvement in resolving security issues, particularly regarding Ukraine. According to Lee, there is noticeable enthusiasm in Beijing after the summit, and the publication of Xi Jinping's chief of staff Kai Ki's article on proactive management of the international space indicates China's growing confidence in its global role. At the same time, the US is signaling its desire to reduce its dependence on China in strategic areas and continues to unite allies against the backdrop of Russia's war against Ukraine. US President Donald Trump explained how he managed to end 8 wars around the world and why that approach does not work with Russia, according to CBS News. When asked who was more difficult to deal with, Putin or Chinese President Xi Jinping, Trump replied that both should be taken very seriously. This is our people, not be toyed with. This is our people you have to take very serious, he said. Commenting on remarks about a red carpet for Putin in Alaska, Trump quipped that he would roll out the red carpet for everybody. The US president reiterated that he had inherited the war in Ukraine from Joe Biden, emphasizing that during his presidency he managed to end 8 conflicts worldwide. You know how I solved them? I said in many cases, in 60%, I said if you don't stop fighting, I'm putting tariffs on both of your countries, and you are not going to be able to do business with the United States, Trump explained. However, he admitted that this approach does not apply to Russia.
I did different with him because we don't do very much business with Russia, for one thing. You know? He's not like somebody that buys a lot from us because of foolishness. And I think he'd like to be. I think he wants to come in and he wants to trade with us. And he wants to make a lot of money for Russia, and I think that's great.
US President Donald Trump says he is not currently considering supplying Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine, according to a White House broadcast. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump was asked whether he plans to send or is considering supplying Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. His answer was brief, not really. The final that I could change, but at this moment I'm not, the president said. When asked what would be the final straw proving that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin does not want to end the war against Ukraine, Trump replied that sometimes a conflict must burn out. There is no final straw. Sometimes you have to let it fight it out. And they're fighting it out, he said. Trump added that it is a difficult war for Putin, claiming that Russia has lost many soldiers, possibly around 1 million, and that the war remains hard for both sides.
He's lost a lot of soldiers, maybe 1 million. That's a lot of soldiers. And it's been tough for Ukraine. It's been tough on both. Sometimes you have to let it, just get fought out.
The US president also said he had already helped resolve 8 wars during his career and believed that settling the situation in Ukraine would be easier than some of those previous conflicts. US President Donald Trump said he had discussed nuclear arms reduction with Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, while also explaining the reasons behind the United States' decision to resume nuclear testing, according to CBS News. US President Donald Trump said the United States possesses more nuclear weapons than any other country and confirmed that Washington has been discussing nuclear arms reduction with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
I think we should do something about denuclearization, and I did actually discuss that with both President Putin and President Xi. We have enough nuclear weapons to blow up the world 150 times. Russia has a lot of nuclear weapons, and China will have a lot. They have some.
According to him, the US is the only country not conducting nuclear tests.
Russia announced that they were going to be doing a test. If you notice, North Korea's testing constantly. Other countries are testing. We're the only country that doesn't test, and I don't want to be the only country that doesn't test.
The US president did not specify whether he was referring to warhead detonations. Earlier, US Energy Secretary Chris Wright clarified that current nuclear testing plans do not include live warhead explosions. The tests we are talking about now are system tests, what we call non-critical explosions, Wright explained. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.